Harry's total breakdown and break from reality has continued overnight, he has now leaked a private security document to Chris Ship of Woke ITV, which has been broadcast to the world. And the nutty thing about this is he is literally saying, I'm a terrorist target. Come and attack me. Come and attack my children. This is honestly the most insane own goal I have ever seen in royal history.
If Harry comes, there'll be the possibility of a mass casualty event if he's the subject of a terrorist attack. Well, and he's giving this to the government to say, well, there you go, you've got to give me armed guards. Well, I would say if that's true, don't come. Don't put other people at risk, just don't come.
6 active threats. 5 originating right inside the United Kingdom. An explicit, high-level intelligence report. This is the terrifying reality Prince Harry wants the world to see. In July 2026, a shocking security report leaked to the press. It claimed the Duke of Sussex faces an elevated threat to his life. For years, Harry has repeated the same devastating claim. He says Britain is too dangerous for his family. He says he cannot bring Archie and Lili back to his homeland. But behind the royal curtain, a much darker game is being played. This isn't just a dispute about personal safety. This is a high-stakes media war. And King Charles just made a move that changed everything. 4 months, the king stayed completely silent. He followed the classic royal rulebook. Never complain, never explain. But as Harry prepared to land in London, the king struck back. He didn't release an angry statement. He didn't fight fire with fire. Instead, Charles offered Harry an unassailable fortress, an official invitation to stay inside a heavily guarded royal residence, complete with elite state security within the palace gates. With one single move, the king completely shattered Harry's narrative. The trap was sprung. If the royal palace is secure, why are the children still hidden away in California? This is the ultimate battle of strategy versus silence. On one side, a rogue prince using maximum public leverage. On the other, a monarch using the power of institutional chess. How did a family visit turn into a geopolitical security thriller? Was this terror report a genuine emergency or a calculated manipulation? Watch until the very end. Because the hidden paper trail reveals a truth that changes everything. To understand how Harry's strategy imploded, we have to look at the exact mechanics of the July 2026 crisis. Harry was scheduled to fly to the UK. The official reason was to promote his beloved Invictus Games. But the real battlefield was happening in the British legal system. Harry had just lost a massive, expensive court battle. He wanted automatic, taxpayer-funded police protection. The British government body known as RAVEC said no. They told him his security would be decided on a case-by-case basis. Harry appealed the decision, and he lost again. Suddenly, reports leaked that Harry was in tears over the decision. The public narrative was set. He was the victimized prince, cast out and left completely unprotected. Then, right on cue, came the ITV exclusive. The broadcast shocked millions of viewers. A dramatic report detailing 6 active plots against his life. But if you look closer at the document, the entire narrative falls apart. This wasn't an independent intelligence assessment from MI5. This wasn't an official warning from New Scotland Yard. This report was bought and paid for by Harry's own private security firm. It was a classic corporate dossier, designed to create a specific legal and public outcome. The goal was incredibly obvious. Harry wanted to use public fear to force the government's hand. If the public believed Al-Qaeda was hunting him, the state would have to give him his bodyguards back. But this is exactly where Harry committed his ultimate tactical blunder. He forgot who he was dealing with. King Charles isn't just a father. He is the head of a 1,000-year-old institution. The palace saw the ITV broadcast for what it truly was. A public relations ambush. So, the king delivered a masterclass in institutional jiu-jitsu. Charles quietly sent an official message to California. He offered Harry, Meghan, and the kids a place to stay inside a royal palace. Think about the absolute genius of this move. Inside a royal palace, security is handled by the highest level of state protection. Armed guards, bulletproof glass, and perimeter defense. Everything Harry claimed he wanted, handed to him on a silver platter. But it came with a massive catch. It completely neutralized his ability to complain. By accepting, Harry would have to admit the king was protecting him. The behind-the-scenes reality was brutal. Harry was caught in a trap of his own making. He had painted the UK as a literal war zone on international television. The timing of the ITV drop was not an accident. It was designed to hit the headlines exactly as Harry arrived. He wanted the British public to feel guilty. But the strategy completely backfired. The public didn't feel guilty. They felt manipulated. Taxpayers saw a multimillionaire demanding free security while producing his own evidence. Inside the palace walls, the mood shifted from annoyance to absolute fury. Aides realized Harry was using his own children as emotional shields in a court case. By claiming Archie and Lili couldn't visit because of threats, he was blaming his own father for their absence. But Charles's response was flawless. He didn't argue the facts of the private report. He simply solved the problem. He gave Harry the fortress, but stripped him of his grievance. And without a grievance, Harry's entire public platform began to hollow out. This was no longer a security crisis. It was the beginning of a total strategic collapse. He had weaponized the safety of Archie and Lili for a legal battle, and the king had just called his bluff in front of the entire world. Harry believes he is fighting a modern battle. But the truth is, he is living in a ghost story. He is repeating a historical blueprint that was written over 30 years ago. To see where this ends, we have to look back at 1995. Princess Diana was at the absolute height of her global fame. She was locked in a bitter public war with the royal establishment. She felt isolated, hunted, and deeply paranoid. In a moment of profound anger, Diana made a fateful decision. She voluntarily surrendered her royal police protection. She believed the security officers were spying on her for the palace. She wanted total independence. It was the exact same impulse that drove Harry to California. The desire to control the narrative. The belief that the institution is the ultimate enemy. But Diana's decision was a catastrophic error. By cutting ties with the state, she threw away the most advanced intelligence network on Earth. She traded elite, disciplined officers for private security contractors. Private security operates for profit. They do not have access to MI5 briefings. They do not have the power to clear streets or control public spaces. They are bodyguards, not a state apparatus. 2 years later, that tactical error ended in the ultimate tragedy in a Paris tunnel. Harry watched that tragedy unfold as a child. It traumatized him deeply. It shaped his entire worldview. But he has completely misread the lesson of history. Harry believes his mother died because the palace didn't protect her. The historical record shows she died because she left the protection of the palace. Now, Harry is attempting to rewrite that history. He wants the independence of a private celebrity, but the sovereign protection of a working prince. He wants the British taxpayer to fund a private army that answers only to him. But the British state cannot allow that precedent. If a prince who quits his duties gets automatic state security, where does it stop? The law must remain absolute. When Harry commissioned his own private terror report for ITV, he thought he was playing a winning card. He thought he was honoring his mother's memory by forcing the state to protect his kids. Instead, he proved how detached he has become from reality. He used the memory of a past tragedy to justify a modern public relations stunt. The palace analysts knew the history perfectly. They saw Harry falling into the exact same trap of isolation that broke his mother. But this time, the institution refused to play the villain. Charles looked at the 1995 blueprint and turned it upside down. If Diana pushed protection away, Charles would force protection upon Harry. By offering the royal residence, Charles didn't just offer safety. He offered history a chance to correct itself. He took away the fear, and by doing so, he exposed the true motive. It was never about security. It was always about status. While Harry uses high-volume media drops, The royal family is using a psychological weapon far more devastating. It is called grey rocking. You do not argue. You do not yell. You make yourself as boring and unresponsive as a grey rock. You deny them the one thing they need to survive: friction. Look at how Buckingham Palace handled the July 2026 crisis. Harry's team released a terrifying report. ITV ran a primetime special. Social media was in an absolute frenzy. The palace response? Absolute, freezing silence. No press secretary stepped up to the microphone. No anonymous sources briefed the papers with angry quotes. The institution simply lowered its eyes and continued to work. This silence is not weakness. It is a calculated, weaponized strategy. Harry and Meghan's entire business model relies on conflict with the royal family. Their Netflix deals, their book contracts, their Spotify podcasts, all of them were built on royal friction. They need the palace to strike back so they have fresh material for their next interview. When the palace refuses to play, the Sussex machine runs completely out of fuel. Think about what happens when you try to fight a shadow. You swing with all your might, and you hit nothing. You look exhausted, while the shadow remains completely unchanged. By offering the royal residence through official channels, Charles practiced the ultimate form of grey rocking. He reduced a massive, dramatic security row down to a simple logistical choice. The palace message was clear: your room is ready. The guards are at the gate. The rest is up to you. This move completely starved Harry of his victim status. He could no longer claim the family was actively abandoning Archie and Lili. Prince William has mastered this strategy even more intensely than the king. William has completely blacked out his brother. In public, his name is never mentioned. In private, he has reportedly shut the door for good. This institutional blackout is incredibly brutal. It communicates to the world that Harry is no longer a player in the game. He is merely background noise. A rogue player can only disrupt a system if the system responds to them. The moment the system ignores them, the rogue player becomes irrelevant. Harry's ITV documentary was supposed to be a massive leverage point. It was supposed to force Charles to pick up the phone and negotiate. Instead, it showed the world a prince talking to an empty room. The king was busy running the country. William was busy preparing for the future. The weaponized silence worked perfectly. The drama didn't elevate Harry's status. It made him look increasingly desperate. It turned a royal prince into a reality television plotline that the public is simply tired of watching. When you lose your status in a royal family, you don't just lose your titles. You lose your market value. The true consequence of Harry's failed security strategy is unfolding right now in the boardrooms of Hollywood. For the past few years, the Sussexes have lived in a massive, hyper-expensive bubble in Montecito. That lifestyle requires a staggering amount of continuous cash flow. Private security alone costs them millions of dollars every single year. When they first landed in America, global brands threw money at them. Netflix signed a $100 million deal. Spotify handed over $20 million. Penguin Random House paid a massive fortune for Harry's memoir. But those companies weren't buying Harry and Meghan the individuals. They were buying royal prestige. They were buying an exclusive backstage pass to the British monarchy. But look at the landscape in 2026. The Spotify deal was famously cancelled, with top executives calling them grifters.
It's over. After dropping out of the top 200 altogether, Netflix has made the not-so-difficult decision to axe with Love Meghan.
The Netflix contract is nearing its expiration date, with industry insiders reporting a massive lack of fresh content. Hollywood is backing out. Why? Because the narrative has turned toxic. No major entertainment company wants to invest millions of dollars in an endless, bitter legal battle over police bodyguards. Hollywood deals are built on glamour, inspiration, and mass appeal. Harry's brand has devolved into an endless loop of grievance and litigation. When Harry used a private security firm to generate a terror report for a television network, he crossed a line that corporate America despises. He brought heavy, dark, geopolitical paranoia into his commercial brand. Advertisers look at that and see massive risk. They see a brand that is unstable. The numbers are going completely cold. Without the official royal connection, their public projects are failing to generate the massive viewing figures they once commanded. The public curiosity has been replaced by fatigue. The ultimate irony is that Harry needed the UK security crisis to maintain his commercial relevance. If he could prove he was still targeted by international terror networks because of his royal blood, his stock value in America would stay high. It proved he was still important. But King Charles's offer of a royal residence completely dismantled that commercial play. By offering a safe haven inside the palace, Charles proved that the only thing keeping Harry away from his family was his own pride. The king showed the world that the kids, Archie and Lili, could have a relationship with their grandfather tomorrow if Harry simply accepted the invitation. When Harry hesitated, the corporate world saw right through it. They realized the endless complaints weren't about safety at all. They were about keeping a fading brand alive. The money is drying up. The doors are slamming shut. The multi-million-dollar contracts are being replaced by lifestyle blogs and minor public appearances. The commercial collapse is real, it is accelerating, and it is the direct result of trying to trade a royal inheritance for cheap celebrity leverage. The dust is finally settling on the great security crisis of 2026, and the landscape of the British monarchy has been permanently realigned. King Charles has drawn a hard, visible line in the sand. He has proven that the institution will always protect its bloodline, but it will never tolerate extortion. The king's offer was the ultimate checkmate. It protected the children, it satisfied the security requirements, and it preserved the dignity of the crown. Harry is left standing in a cold, professional wilderness. He wanted to be a global power player who could dictate terms to a king. Instead, he has been revealed as an exiled prince trapped in an endless loop of his own making. The structural changes are permanent. The royal family has learned to operate seamlessly without him. The line of succession is secure. The public focus has shifted entirely to William and their children. The Sussexes are no longer a threat to the stability of the crown. They have been reduced to a cautionary tale. This brings us to the final, haunting question. It is a psychological question that goes to the very core of this entire royal tragedy. What happens to a man who destroys his entire world to build a fortress, only to realize he has locked himself inside a prison? Harry fought for independence. He fought for control. He fought to protect his family from what he believed was a hostile system. But by weaponizing his safety, by turning his homeland into a war zone on television, and by using his own children as leverage in a legal battle, he has accomplished the one thing he feared most. He has made his isolation permanent. He cannot return to the UK without admitting defeat. He cannot stay in America without running out of money. He has built a life where his only currency is his survival of a trauma that he refuses to let heal. King Charles did not destroy Harry's dream. He simply showed him the mirror. And as the gates of the royal palace lock tight for the summer, the world can see the brutal, undeniable truth. The king didn't just shut down a security scam. He closed the book on a rebellion. And the prince who wanted to change the monarchy is left outside the walls, watching the lights go out on the world he threw away.